All right, so today's what if question from this lovely book is, what if I jumped out of an airplane with a couple of tanks of helium and one large uninflated balloon? Then, while falling, I released the helium and filled the balloon. How long of a fall would I need in order for the balloon to slow me enough that I could land safely? As ridiculous as it sounds, this is sort of plausible. Falling from great heights is dangerous. A balloon would actually save you, although a regular helium one from a party obviously won't do the trick. If the balloon is large enough, you don't even need the helium. A balloon will act as a parachute, slowing your fall to non-fatal speeds. Avoiding high-speed landing is, unsurprisingly, the key to survival. As one medical paper put it, it is of course obvious that speed, or height of fall, is not in itself injurious, but a high rate of change of velocity, such as occurs after a 10-story fall onto concrete, is another matter. Which is just a wordy version of the old saying, it's not the fall that kills you, it's the sudden stop at the end. To act as a parachute, a balloon filled with air, rather than helium, would have to be 10 to 20 meters across, far too big to be inflated with portable tanks. A powerful fan could be used to fill it with ambient air, but at that point, you may as well just use a parachute. Helium makes things a little bit easier. It doesn't take too many helium balloons to lift a person. In 1982, Larry Walters flew across Los Angeles in a lawn chair lifted by weather balloons, eventually reaching several miles in altitude. After passing through LAX airspace, he descended by shooting some of the balloons with a pellet gun. On landing, Walters was arrested, although the authorities had some trouble figuring out what to charge him with. At the time, an FAA safety inspector told the New York Times, "We know he broke some part of the Federal Aviation Act, and as soon as we decide which part it is, some type of change will be filed." A relatively small helium balloon, certainly smaller than a parachute, will suffice to slow your fall, but it still has to be huge by party balloon standards. The biggest consumer rental helium tanks are about 250 cubic feet, and you would need to empty at least 10 of them to put enough air in the balloon to support your weight. You'd have to do it quickly. Compressed helium cylinders are smooth and often quite heavy, which means that they have high terminal velocity. You'll have only a few minutes to use up all the cylinders. As soon as you emptied one, you can drop it. You can get around this problem by moving your starting point higher, as we learned from the steak incident, since the upper atmosphere is pretty thin. Anything dropped from the stratosphere or higher will accelerate to very high speeds until it hits the lower atmosphere, then fall slowly the rest of the way. This is true of everything from small meteors to Felix Baumgartner. But as you inflated the balloons quickly, possibly by connecting mini canisters to it at once, you'd be able to slow your fall. Just don't use too much helium, or you'll end up floating at 16,000 feet like Larry Walters. While researching this answer, I managed to lock up my copy of Mathematica several times on balloon-related differential equations, and subsequently got my IP address banned from Wolfram Alpha for making too many requests. The ban appeal form asked me to explain what task I was performing that necessitated so many queries. I wrote, calculating how many rental helium tanks you'd have to carry with you in order to inflate a balloon large enough to act as a parachute and slow your fall from a jet aircraft. Sorry, Wolfram. So that answers the question, what would happen if you jumped out of an airplane with a couple of tanks of helium and one huge inflated balloon?